Boys and girls, it is an exploding property sales and rentals market.
Yep.
We are going to give you some hacks and tricks from the experts, what we see the amazing buyers and tenants do out there in a couple of seconds.
That's fancy. I wasn't expecting all that. It's almost like a nightclub.
Yes. Now here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are, Monday night Novak News, where we are here to give you the lowdown.
True.
At least the market's going crazy. You're going to cover more sales.
Yes.
I'm going to cover more rentals.
Yes. I'm excited for this tonight, guys. I'm excited for buyers that are out there. They're struggling. Tenants that are out there, they're struggling. The market is absolutely crazy. It's crazy at the moment, yeah. And I don't see signs of it slowing down anytime soon, guys.
No.
So if you're a buyer out there, or if you're a tenant out there and you can't secure a property, make sure you're sharing this, because we're going to give you guys some hot inside tips to try and make life a little bit easier for you.
Tip number one.
Okay, tip number one is, here we go, make offers quickly. Make offers quickly. So for buyers, and again, Mark's going to cover the tenants, but for you buyers that are watching, the big critical mistake, the pattern that I see where buyers miss out is they and they are after an open home, and then they call us on a Monday or a Tuesday. They're ready to make an offer. Property's been sold. Make an offer at the open home.
Yep.
All right, you can give us a verbal offer at the open home. It doesn't commit you. And then just follow it up. We do need it in writing. So just shoot us a text or an email after that.
And I've been saying it for years, Lise. Make an appointment, make an offer making appointment with the agent. So ring the agent, go, hey, can I come and see in the office? Why? We'd like to make an offer on 22 Fox Street, Newport. And it's like, what's the agent going to say? No. Of course he's going to meet with you as soon as possible. Go in, eyeball the agent, belly to belly.
Yep.
Have a chat.
Another thing that a lot of people don't realise is that you can actually go straight. Now, agents don't love this, but it is a really, really good way of getting the deal done and showing that you're rock solid. So if you're a buyer looking to buy property, you can actually take in a signed contract and go straight to the vendor's solicitor. In a red hot market like this is an absolute, what do you call it, Mark, when people like throw the mic down? What do you call that?
Showstopper, mic dropper.
Yeah. It is, you know,
but
that.
Hang on a sec. Wouldn't you get the shits if a buyer did that to you, went and signed a contract and dropped it to the lawyer of the client? Wouldn't you think they're trying to bypass you?
Look, I think, you know, in this market, it's not unusual that we're seeing this kind of behaviour.
Jeez.
It's certainly not unusual. So, you know, again, as agents, we like to know that we are negotiating the whole deal, and we like to have complete control of that. It is in the best interest of the vendor. However, I have seen that done in a very, very red hot market.
It's pretty intelligent.
Well, you know, it shows true commitment, doesn't it, on the buyer's behalf?
And sometimes you don't have, I don't like to admit this, but sometimes you don't have the most confidence in your real estate agent. So that way is like the no bullshit, straight to the lawyer. You know, lawyers are like, have this fiduciary duty of like, they're just black and white and bang. So
look, I think a lot of buyers,
clever.
You know, and unfortunately I did have this situation tonight. We exchanged a property very, very quickly. And I had to give the bad news to a buyer that had missed out. The transaction had transpired so fast that obviously we go back to all parties. But the vendor's instructions were to accept that offer. The terms worked. Everything about it worked, and they were the vendor's instructions. They also had the highest offer, but the terms worked for them. All right. Now, that's another critical thing, guys. Don't dismiss your terms. Everyone always thinks it's all about the dollars, and it is for the most part, but terms play a huge part in this.
Big one.
All right. So if I can just use the example of tonight, Mark, I've just exchanged a property now 10 minutes before we just came on. The conditions of sale were phenomenal for my vendors, right? They needed a certain settlement on a certain date because they'd just purchased a property. and it was an unconditional sale. Everything about the sale worked for them, including the price. But sometimes it is just the conditions, right? Particularly in this kind of environment. All right.
So number one was don't be sure to make an offer. Number two, I'm just writing it down.
Conditions.
Conditions.
Number two, conditions. Okay. Now, make sure buyers listen. Make sure you have got your conveyancer or solicitor.
This is like I'm your secretary.
You just keep typing away.
Okay, yep.
Mark's going to cover the rental stuff, guys. Don't forget that. I'm covering the sales stuff. So buyers, make sure you got your conveyancer or your solicitor and your broker all lined up and ready to go. Because guess when a lot of these transactions happen, Mark, on the weekend. A lot of them happen on the weekend, and some brokers and some solicitors can be a little sleepy on the weekend and you can't get a hold of them.
They're not going to blame themselves on Monday. They're going to blame the market or the property or the whatever. But we get asked by buyers, hey, do you have a lawyer that's open on a Saturday? Yes, we do. The lawyer can act fast, but the broker can't. The broker's waiting for third parties to confirm stuff. So I've got to admit, this is the first time I've actually seen the property market, a bit sobering as well, but it's the first time where I've thought it's completely a finance approval driven property market.
Yeah.
Completely. So it doesn't matter how hungry, what your appetite is for property, how smart you are, how much you earn. Like at the end of the day, you've got to have that loan approval, because at the moment that is the linchpin. That is absolutely critical in what we're talking about. Gives you that confidence. Yeah.
So again, tonight just exchanged a great property for a phenomenal price for some amazing vendors, but the buyers were so locked and loaded. They already had their Section 66W from their solicitor, which waivers any cooling off period.
Yeah.
They were in a position to sign. They had their solicitor on call. This is at 7:00 tonight.
Yeah.
And we had the vendor's solicitor on call as well.
Now, I'm going to teach you guys something. The only way that you're going to know that is by having your heart broken. Hard.
Unfortunately.
So these guys, so what we're saying to you now, rather than going through that emotion, losing the first property, losing the second property, getting knocked around, get these ducks lined up early. Don't put yourself through pain. Get it done early.
Without a doubt. So great broker, great conveyancer or solicitor. Next tip. All right. Here's another one. Strong offers. Again, I continue to see the same mistakes with similar buyers. Do not start with your lowest offer. This is a red hot market. Okay, throw in your strongest offer. That is it. Go out with one hard punch. Throw in your strongest offer. This market, there is really such a small window of opportunity to negotiate. And while we're negotiating with the buyer who's thrown in a lower offer and is creeping up by 15, 20 grand, we've got the rockstar offer that comes, through the door with a signed contract.
Saturday's auction was a great example of that.
Yep.
These young guys that bought the property, aggro as, but at least I know it's great. And guys, it's been a market the last couple of years, quite a few years, where you can actually be a little bit tactical. You can sort of play around, get a good buy.
Yes.
The problem is that it's going to cost you, the way the market's rising, if you may be trying to save $1 million, you may be able to try 5,000, but you're losing $1 million asset that's growing fast. So these assets, potentially it's going up by 1 or 2% a month on $1 million. Maybe you can try to save yourself a couple of grand, but you'll look back in 6 months' time on a house.
Yeah.
We've even said there's been like for like houses that we're seeing from 3 months ago to today, there's 200 grand's difference. So if you're getting cute,
it's crazy.
You're getting cute over 50 grand. It's just such a pumping market, guys. Don't.
So
just
I actually want to give you guys,
forget.
I want to give you a living example, because I sold a property for a vendor this evening, as I mentioned, but I also helped them to buy a property as well. Property was with another agency. The agent came back and said, all right, there's 2 parties interested. You're one, and there's one other offer maker. We're going to do what's called a best and fairest, which is, for use of a better word, a silent auction. We're not allowed to use that terminology anymore, but it's a best and fairest. The agent says to all offer makers, you throw in your very best offer, and your conditions, we will take it to the vendor. They will make a decision. Someone's buying a property today, right?
Yep.
I had said to my vendors, guys, don't throw in a round figure. Throw in a skew figure. So instead of throwing in, let's call it $2.3 million, I said throw in $2.3 million and $8,000.
Yep.
They ended up securing the property as a result of that. True story. So don't round those numbers all the time. You know, again, it's that additional $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 to a vendor is a hell of a lot. It's a lot of money to anyone, right? But, you know, it definitely assists in paying for things like marketing, removalist costs. You know, they will look at that and say, well, you know, I may go with that higher offer. So don't always throw in the big round figure.
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, good. Next one along, guys.
Lisa's taking notes tonight, everyone.
I did write some notes tonight. Next one is, there's two ways that you can buy property. One is with what we call a no cooling off period, and it's a secure sale. Your solicitor, the purchaser's solicitor, gives what's called a Section 66W, which waivers any cooling off period. The other way is a 5-day or 10-day cooling off period, which allows the buyer time to do their due diligence, such as get a contract reviewed, such as get a strata report reviewed or pest and building report done or reviewed, and get their finances firmed up. A lot of you guys don't realise that if the vendor agrees, you can secure a property on a cool-off period with a 0.25% deposit. That is $0.25% deposit.
$1 million.
So what on $1 million? What's that, Mark? Let's say on $1 million. You know, look, guys, I'm good with words. I'm not great with maths.
No, I'm just saying $1 million. What's the 0.25 on that?
So 0.25 is, let's call it a couple of $1,000. All right.
No, but what's the exact?
So $2,500.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can actually secure a property. So we can exchange contracts on a 0.25% deposit, or $2,500 if we're working on a $1 million property.
Really improved on your maths.
Thank you. And that will actually remove the property. The property then cannot be sold to anybody else. So the vendor is committed to you, but you are not committed to the vendor. You can pull out during that cooling off period, but it's a great way to put the property into a holding pattern. All right. And it's what we call putting a property under contract. All right. So that's another way. Ask the agent, are we able to secure the property with a 0.25% deposit?
You can use a 0.25% deposit if the seller. Yep.
All right. Now, in the event you as a buyer want to pull out during the cool-off period, you will forfeit the 0.25% deposit.
It's a great way
so
to
you
take
will
the
lose
pressure
that.
off. You're going to take a hit for potentially for $2,500 on $1 million, but it's a great way to take a very heavy weight and a very heavy burn off your shoulders, because in that time there's a lot of stuff for you to do, and you don't have to have all of your eggs lined up, 10% sold.
It's almost like lay buying it in a way, isn't it?
It's almost like you're buying almost like an auction, bang, same day, same everything. Or you do the cool off, it's a bit more paced, a bit more cool. You can even use the excuse of the 10 days because banks are taking so long. Hey, look, I need 10 days, Mr. Real Estate Agent, 10 business days, which is 2 weeks. It's clever, guys.
Look, in a market like this,
if they'll do it, they may not do it.
They may agree to do it. Look, in a market like this, vendors don't love it. Agents will always recommend to their vendors, who we act for, that we will try and do a very secure sale. So, you know, with that Section 66W, which will waiver the cooling off period.
Yep.
However, ask the question, guys. Ask the question.
Jeff reckons he loves the energy that you have.
I don't know. Jeff, how are you, Jeff?
Yeah, you're
I hope Jeff's feeling
Jeff.
all right. I hope you're all right, mate.
Better, buddy.
Yeah, me too. Okay, next one, guys, the big one. You know, I fly this flag, you know, my pre-market. We all do it here at Novak. Now is the time. If you were ever going to follow our social media, now is the critical time. Yeah. All right. A buyer literally an hour ago bought a property that she saw on my Instagram. And I'm very used to seeing that. Follow our social media. It's where all of our properties go before they hit realestate.com and domain. In a market like this, it's critical. You will get your foot in the door before the crowds. All right, you've got to put through your Rockstar offer, but we will get you through those doors. If you're following our social media, you guys are the ones that are going to get to see the property first.
Follow your fave agents on social. Another one I like is appeal to the emotions. Appeal to the emotions of the seller and appeal to the emotions of the agent. You don't want to be like a biscuit face at an open house, tearing the property apart, thinking you're really smart, and then you just get railroaded by the owner. So we saw that at an auction where there was works to be done on the unit block. This lady had a bidder's card. She wanted to buy the property, and she just tore the property down in front of the auctioneer. Now, that lady has been acting like that through the whole campaign. So it's just not going to help. And as much as you think you're outwit, outsmart, outfoxed by that negative energy, I don't think it's good. I think you want to appeal to the emotions. What are the sellers doing? How can I help as a buyer? And this is what we're doing. We're a family. We've got 2 kids, Johnny, Mike, Sarah. We live in Cogra and we're coming to the beaches. And can you tell the owners we love their property? Like, appealing to those emotions is like craziness. I know we think dollars and cents, but you really appeal to those emotions, guys. And the agent, like, just schmoozy them, because they are going to aggregate all the offers. They are going to convey that to the seller. And the more the agent loves you, the more the agent will prop you up, because, hey, that's what we do.
Without a doubt. Again, just on this deal that I just did this evening, these people that ended up buying the property actually wrote a note and they wanted me to give that to the vendor.
Smart.
So they'd been looking for a family home in the area. A lot of the family lived in the area and they'd missed out on a couple of auctions, and they actually wrote a letter that I did give to my vendors. So that's so nice. This was actually not an easy sale for my vendors either. They'd been in the family home for a really long time. They'd actually bought it off the parents, Mark, who'd been in the family home for a really long time as well. So this was not an easy sale. They wrote a beautiful letter, these buyers, and they did end up buying the property.
Yeah.
So that's
it has to be honest, like, you can't make it up.
Who would make that up?
No, I'm saying what I would write in the letter may not be the most honest things, but to
you
appeal.
Would so. Well, hang on a sec. All the letters that you've written to me over the years, you're telling me that they're not.
No, I was just thinking, I'd be like saying that I adopted children and supporting charity. Like, anyway, that's bad.
All right. So the critical things, guys, just to wrap up with you buyers, follow social media. It is absolutely, without a doubt, a fact. 70% of my stock sells right off my socials. Those buyers that are following them, they're getting in to see property first, and they're the ones that are securing property, not cheaply, no. But you definitely need to be following social media. Make offers, really good offers, and firm it up with your terms. Rockstar offers, guys.
You're going to think of stuff that you've forgotten about. We're going to wrap back to 2 hot tips on sales at the end.
Okay.
But for the next couple of minutes, I want to bring up some rentals stuff.
All right, let's do that. Over to you, Mark.
You let me talk now.
Yeah, I'm going to sit here and just be quiet for a while.
I did agree. I was going to do the rentals. So, guys and girls, rentals property market, it is bonkers, particularly houses, which is really interesting because the sea change and tree change that people have been talking about has been like, if you're in a little one better, you're working from home, your husband's now working from home, what do you want to do? You want to upgrade, you want a yard, you want your dog to go to the toilet, you got a pet, whatever. It's gone, that one better, nice one better's done well, but the budget one better, no good. The nice 2 betters are doing really well, and then it's kicking up now. So it's kicked up to houses. So houses that was sitting around 750, not 850, they've just skyrocketed to 1,000 or over. So I think the tip is, when securing that sort of stuff, you can use a lot of the ethoses that and ideas that we've given you on. You're going to type?
Do you want me to type?
Yeah. Just when I come up with a tip, I
don't know how to use this thing here.
So, yeah, you can use a lot of these basic negotiating principles that Lisa's brought up tonight, also in rentals. So go back on those, adopt those, look at those. Houses are doing well. I think we did a couple of open houses on the weekend. 40 to 50 was the average number through the houses. Now, a tip on that: touch base with the agent, see who manages the property, right? See who manages the property. Get your application in to that person. So the big problem with real estate agencies is the application doesn't land into the hand of the decision maker. Property manager's not the decision maker, the landlord's the decision maker, but the property manager is actually conveying that stuff. In your application, you're going to love this one, photos. Okay? Resumes, what's the first thing you do when you pick up a resume? You look at the bloody photo. So make sure you've got family photo and a bit of a bio as an appendix to what you're submitting. So use the agent's documentation. There's nothing more frustrating than you having your version of documentation that's your application. Then there's another 6 applications that are filled out exactly like they should be.
Yeah.
So use the agent's docs. Add extras to the docs.
Supporting documentation. I mean, we do an extremely thorough tenant check. Or application checks, and make sure you're putting forward as much information as possible. There's less toing and froing. The person that's got the bulletproof app is going to get processed a lot faster if we're not having to make 10 phone calls to you as an applicant.
Make it easy for the processor to process your application. Otherwise, they're going to just push it to the side. So that's a really good tip, guys. Make sure you're making it easy. You've got all the support documentation that's been asked for. Get that documentation into that application up front. Don't drip feed the agent. They'll get frustrated. They'll use another application to submit to the owner. It's less work for the owner. It's less work for the agent. So that application, get personal, get it into the right hands of the right property manager who's managing the property. So you can even actually ask that direct question as who will be talking to my owner whilst submitting my application. That's where you send it to. Have a nice personal conversation or a nice personal SMS over to that property manager. Get personal.
And also feel free to follow up. I mean, we get a lot of applications. We're managing a lot of property. So, we do get a lot of applications coming in. Don't be shy to touch base with our rentals department or any rentals department, 3 times a day. How's the application going? Can you please help me out here? Yeah, well,
It's true though.
No, but you can.
You want to get shit done.
There's that. Don't wait for the phone call. Be proactive and get on the phone to the property managers and follow those up.
Yep. So the rentals market, we covered a couple of crackers today. Getting personal with the property manager. Offer more. So what actually happens is, and this particularly happens on a relet. So when a property has not been on the market, sometimes, or even if it has actually, sometimes the property managers undercook it. It's a little bit low. So if you think it's actually good value, don't just think offering $10 more because it's more than what they're asking. Offer where you think market value is. If you wholeheartedly think, shit, this one's low, this one's a bargain, go to where you think it's value. I know you're paying more than what they're asking, but if the odds are you're going to blow the competition out of the water when you do that as well.
Without a doubt. And, for rentals, we're allowed to use the word offers over. Unlike in sales, we have to use the word guide. And the guide is there to guide you. But rentals, we're allowed to say offers over $450 a week. If you really want to secure that property, guys, just come in with like a $460, $465 offer and ask the property manager to go take that to the landlord. Another good tip on that, Mark, is you don't always have to do the fortnight by fortnight or month by month rental payment. You might say, I'm happy to pay an extra $15 a week, and I'm also happy to sign a lease and pay up front for the next 6 months. All right, you might also secure it that way. That is extremely appealing to a landlord.
Yep.
So again, you can firm up those conditions there as well with a rental property.
It's true.
Now, rental properties, this is always a little odd. Rental properties, you must inspect. You must inspect a rental property before you can actually go signing a lease. Properties for sale, you can actually put in offers before you've even viewed the property. You can
off
buy
the plan. Off the plan.
Off the plan. Well, you can actually, I've had people buy properties before, Mark, and not cheap ones. They haven't even seen them.
You can spend $1 million without seeing it, but you can't spend $1,000 a week without seeing it.
It's silly. Rosie, I know you're on here. Like, what's with that? It's almost crazy, isn't it? I'm sure in these COVID times, you're allowed to just do a virtual inspection of a rental property, I think we should get some clarification around that. Actually,
Should be
I'm
able to,
keen
guys.
to know that.
Should be
Rosie,
able
just
to.
pop a comment in here if that is the case. We'd love to hear. We'd love to hear from you. So, but again, guys, rental properties, bulletproof applications. Put as much info in there as possible. If you've got a dog or a cat, attach a photo. Tell us a bit of a story about yourself.
Yep.
Firm up your conditions. Move quickly.
Or yourselves, your wife, yourself. Gets a bit personal. It's quite nice.
Offer a little bit more. Offer to pay rent in advance. All these things are going to make for a very, very strong application. Here we go. Here's Rosie. Here's Queen Rosie. Consumer protection. Where are we, Mark?
Consumer protection to allow people to touch and feel the reality of
the property. That's what you said to me, Mark, when we first started dating.
I didn't touch or feel your property when we first met.
Oh, it's been a long day. It's been a really long day.
Okay, so look, I guess what Rosie's saying there is it's about recourse.
Yeah.
You know, and when you go, you know, like you've sort of got a lawyer when you're buying a property explaining all the ins and outs, but you don't have that when you're renting. So, you know, that one of those protections of actually seeing the property is just so wholeheartedly relied on that, mate, you saw it. Bad luck.
All right, guys. So there's some great tips in there for tenants, for buyers. It's tough out there for you guys at the moment. Follow these tips. We're here to advise you. I know a lot of buyers and tenants think that the agent is not on their side, and certainly we do act for the vendor, but I can tell you now, we orchestrated a couple of sales actually over the last few days. You know, we were really helping these buyers.
Hard.
We really do. We advise them. We assist them with legal advice if they need it. We put them in touch with great solicitors and conveyancers. Just on that can be the make or break. That can be the make or break. I can tell you now, having a great solicitor or conveyancer on your side can be a deal happening or not happening.
Yeah.
I can't even reiterate that enough.
The finance and the lawyer guys, like they are more important.
Oh my God.
I reckon they're representing 60 or 70% of the deal now. Whereas it used to be just about getting the right property.
Yeah.
But I reckon most of that deal now
broker or bank.
How good is your broker?
Broker or bank, Mark?
Broker for sure. If you're a little bit, particularly that not many people are an easy straight up and down loan. So a broker can actually can get you into the right bank, depending on your structure. Whereas sometimes if you go to the bank and your profile may not be what that bank does, you feel like a leper, you don't get finance, you walk away sad, 12 months goes past.
Yeah.
But a broker will actually get you into the hands of the right bank fast at the right rates,
Correct.
Shop your rates and stuff like that. And they're actually a free service. So I reckon they're really good.
Absolutely. Now, guys, if anyone who is watching out there needs a great broker, needs a great solicitor, or needs some advice, just reach out. We're very happy to refer some people. We don't get paid for this. We're very happy just to refer people. We're working with them all. So trust me, we can handpick some of the greatest people that we work with in the industry.
Rosie Sullivan, she's on here now.
Rosie Sullivan. So what does Rosie do? Rosie is the principal of one of the largest training providers. I want to say the largest training provider for the real estate industry in the country, Australian College of Professionals. So we're going to pop that in here now.
Yep.
Solicitors, I want to say HPL. I work a lot with HPL lawyers. They are one of the largest law firms on the Northern Beaches. I have never, ever had an issue when using these guys, and they are always available when I need them. Tonight at 7:00, that's a great example. We got an exchange done.
So who's that?
So best lawyers, and again, there's plenty of them, but you know we're exposed to a lot. I want to say HPL lawyers.
Look, we love them all, but tonight we're just going to give you HPL.
For HPL, can I also add in there as well Lou Marasco, Cara Marasco and Co. Either of those guys, you are in rock solid hands, guys. Cannot refer them highly enough. Mortgage broker, I want to say Mark Conway, absolute legend. If Mark can't get it done, it's not possible. Mark Conway. And I also want to add to that, Christian Stevens, legend of a guy, big supporter of us. Those two guys, you can't go wrong.
Just let us know. We can give you anyone's number.
Yep.
On these guys, Christian Stevens and Mark Conway. There's some really cool cats there. So
absolutely.
Hopefully this has helped you. We've fast-tracked the biggest problems we see. We've fast-tracked and shot to you the solutions for peeps or what they're doing out there. Some really good consultants. If you're buying and selling, always use me. At any time, I've probably got a bit more experience than Lisa, so she's fresh and she knows how to hustle. But at the end of the day, 27 years in the business, I'm here for you guys and girls. So yeah, but I'm very select with my customers. But
he's a bit old and crusty now.
Just call and I'll see if I can help you.
Guys, follow my social media. That's where you're going to see all the pre-market property first. That's where a lot of my buyers are buying properties, securing great properties. We hope this has been of help to you. It's been a really long day. We're going to love you and leave you. Have an awesome week, guys. Thanks for joining us. See ya.